Hey guys, Mr. Quickshot23 here, bringing you another tutorial. Now this one's going to be for Tekkit Lite, and this tutorial is based around technology. Have you ever had the problem of using a standard furnace and having to keep replacing this coal or charcoal or whatever, and it just gets so frustrating? Well, with Tekkit Lite and Industrial Craft, they have shown that they have a fix for that, and that fix is with electricity. And right next to it you see another device, which is the electric furnace. Now the electric furnace, as you see, you don't need a fuel source. It shows a spot here. You can throw a battery in there and use that, but what you can actually do, which is better than using coal, is you can use a sustainable power source like solar or wind power to continuously generate power, and you don't have to use a fuel for it. And so that allows you to have pretty much unlimited furnace time without having to keep refilling your coals all the time. So what I'm going to do is show you how to go from here to here. There's a couple steps in between, and there's some things you'll need to find. So hang on, and I will bring you through the process. So over here, right here, the first step to making an electric furnace is you need some sort of power source. So the most basic power source you're going to have is a generator. Now, unfortunately, the generator uses coal or some other power source, but it is the first step, and you can actually end up using that generator as a part of the ingredients to make a solar panel or a windmill or whatever you end up making. So it's not wasted stuff, you know. So the first step again is to make a generator. And when we go in here and we check on the ingredients for generator, you see it right here. And so I have one here already, but here's the basic ingredients. Now you have a battery, refined iron, and iron furnace. Now the first step, let's go with the iron furnace. It's very easy to make. Now everybody here knows how to make a standard furnace, but we will go over that anyway. So what we need then is, let's get some iron. Oops, took a little bit too much there. So one way to make a standard furnace is you can put 8 cobblestone in a square. 8 cobblestone in a square. Like this. And that makes a regular furnace. What you can do with this then is you can, if you want to make an iron furnace, you can put 8 of these in a circle or in a square, and that makes an iron furnace. But if you don't want to waste your iron, if you're short on iron, what you can actually do is use cobblestone to make a regular furnace, right, like this. And then you can take, so you only need 5 pieces of iron versus 8. So in other words, you're trading 8 cobblestone for 3 pieces of iron, which if you're early on in your building, that's worth it. And that creates you an iron furnace. Now what this iron furnace does is it's not electric, so don't, it may look like it, but it's not. What it actually is it's a regular furnace, but what it does is it's faster. If you see the speed that's going, if we do the same thing over here, maybe it's not that noticeable, but it is a bit faster. So if you want to keep using coal, but you want it to be quicker, you can always go here. But our mission is to get electricity, so we're going to continue. So the next step is, when we want to create this generator, is we have the iron furnace. Now we need refined iron. Now, if you're just moving into Tekkit, you may not know what that is. It's actually really simple. What it is all you do is take iron and smelt it again. And when this finishes, it creates refined iron. Simple. Actually gives you some experience when you make it, so it doesn't hurt to make a bunch at a time. And so that's that's simple. And then now you're going to end up making a lot of these batteries because they're used in a lot of recipes for electricity. But here's what it is. Copper cable. Again, if you're new to this, you may not know how to make that. And this looks really messy. It's actually simpler than this. You can go this way. Now rubber is gotten from, you can use a tree tap on rubber trees. Now you gotta be careful because some of the rubber trees, there's two types of rubber trees, and I will see if I can pull up one on here to show you which kind you need to find. They are the rarer kind, and the way that you know what they look like is you will see on the top, when you look at the leaves, you'll see it's having kind of like a single column straight up in the air. Here's a screenshot of what they look like. They have that tower on top. And when you walk up to it, you'll see a little like sap looking thing on the side of it. And here's a screenshot of that resin on the side of a rubber tree. You can use a tool called a tree tap, which it's right. This is the standard tree tap. So when we look at that tree tap, you can see it's very simple to make. Just a couple pieces of wood, and it makes you a tree tap. You right click on that sap, that gives you sap. Then you smelt that sap. I'll show you the sap that it gives you. I'm sorry, it's actually called resin. I call it sap because it looks like sap. But, so I have some resin here. If you come over here, you throw a couple pieces in there, and you'll see what it makes here. While it's making that, I'm going to go ahead and get hopper so we can make the next. So this is a simple part. This is how I make my copper cable. If you just put 3 in a row, it makes you 6 copper cables. Now those are uninsulated. When you're making recipes, you need insulated. But the good thing about doing it separately is that you can do, if I were to try to do the recipe together, you would have to have 6 of these this rubber. So if you don't have 6, then you can't make the recipe. But the good thing about this is, if you have, you can just stick those in there and throw these like this, and now you can make whatever amount you want. Now back to our recipe here. We're working on the reed battery. Now you need tin, which is simple. You just find tin, smelt it, and redstone, which redstone's found in the lower levels. Now, we'll take some redstone out of here, we'll take some tin out of here, and we'll make some reed batteries, because we're going to need a couple of them. We'll go, let's make 5 of them. Okay. And, we can only make 4. Forgot about that. That's alright. So now we have reed batteries, and as you notice, they're not charged. If you look at the bottom, it says 0 of 10,000 EU. And that's energy units. That's what EU stands for. You'll learn a lot about that as you get into this this aspect of Tekkit. So here we are with that. We're going to put this all together to make a generator, and this is where it gets fun. So we have battery, 3 refined iron, and an iron furnace. We'll go ahead and make that. Okay. So once you put all that together, you have your generator. Now this is where it gets neat. Now there's a lot of different ways to do this, but remember we have our electric furnace here. Now this is a very wasteful method, but you may have to do this if you don't have these set up to get any crazier than this. What you can do is throw this down. Okay, now when you go into it, it looks a lot like a furnace. What we're going to do is we'll throw some coal in it, and what you'll see is it starts burning, but you're not actually doing anything. What it is doing is it's generating electricity. You see it right here, the bar's filling up. This is kind of its internal battery storage. Whatever's next to it, the electric furnace, when I click on that, it shows that it's holding power now too. Now, when this reaches max, the neat thing about it is it's going to shut off. It may finish burning this piece of coal, but it will not burn anymore after that. Now, if I throw this resin in here, you can see it automatically starts, and what it's doing is it's actually using this generator. Now, this can get wasteful because if this finishes right now, it's going to keep, you see, it's going to finish burning this piece of coal. So there's a way to get rid of that, and that is battery storage. You can store electricity. So we move to the next part, and then we have something called a bat box. This is the most basic form of battery electric storage. So when we click on the recipe for that, it's a very simple recipe. We already made the rebatteries, we already made the copper cable, so we just have wood. So I've already put this together. And if you're not aware, when you have something in here, you can point it and press R, and then if you're clicked on a crafting table, you can click the question mark here, and it will overlay the ingredients, so you don't have to keep going back and forth like I've been doing. And it makes it really easy to remember recipes. So that's all you need. Now this gets really cool. What you can do, and now this is going to be really sloppy, I'm going to reorganize this afterwards, but I'm actually going to break that just because I want to show you guys how it works. So I'm actually going to put it out here, which may seem odd, but it makes sense. What you can do is then this. Now, what you'll notice is that on all sides you have nothing except for one that has an orange circle. That orange circle is the output. So if wherever you point this, it's going to send electricity. Every other side can accept input. So what you can do is you can put this copper cable like that. Now this generator is filling up this battery box. Now this can hold 40,000 EU, which is nice. And then you can take, now if you notice, this ran out, it has no power. So what you can do is run this over like that, and it starts working again. And it's running off this, so all day long this will work. Now you might say, well, this is a little bit messy because you have to still generate coal. You still have to throw coal in there to keep it running. This is true until you get to sustainable energy, like your solar and your wind power. They each have their advantages and disadvantages. So this is how you create power. Now what's even greater about this is you can make more. So if I went like this, look at this idea. What if I went like this? Because let's say, oh no, I'm going to fill this up so easily. Well, that's true. But what you can do is you can actually link these together. Now you have the output of this one going into this one, then the output of this one going into this. And then all you can do is, boom. Now the generator's filling up this, and if you notice, it's coming in and going right back out. But it's actually filling up this one. And this one's outputting to here. You can have these lined up. You can have 100 of them lined up. Now, that gets a little excessive at times because there are better choices than battery boxes. There are higher powered. The bat boxes have a max storage of 40,000 EU. Now there's another one called an MFE, which is much better. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that and show you the difference. Now there are some problems with upgrading your power. First of all, these are quite expensive. If you look, these are diamonds with redstone around them, and then you have gold insulated, double insulated wire, and a machine block, which is refined iron. So it's obviously much more costly. But you go from 40,000 to 600,000. Now the one output problem you have is these copper cables can handle a max of 32 EU per tick. This output's at 128. That gives you a big problem because once you hook that up, it's going to burn these. They will melt, and then your system's just going to shut down. So it has the advantage of storage, but then you have the issue of having to upgrade your wire. Now there are a lot of different wires, and I'm going to go over those in a separate video. But for the purposes of this video, just to get you started, you're going to want to stick with the battery boxes. And they're not bad. Actually, in high-end systems, some people still run battery boxes because it's nice, because if you're going a short distance, these cables are fine. If you throw them down, you have 5. So if you put, say, a bat box here and a generator here, that's the max it can go. It can go further, but every 5, once you go to the 6th one, you lose 1 EU per tick. This generator outputs 10 EU per tick. So after here, if I would put one more wire and then the battery box, you would be down to 9. And that might not seem that much, but if you add a ton of wire going all over the place and you're doing this here and there and there, you might be cutting out a lot of power, and it's not worth it. So the best thing you can do is add something like a bat box or something every 5 cables. If you do that, you get no loss. Now we can go back here and see how these are doing. This one's almost full, and this one's still working, and you know, we've gone through almost a whole stack of resin here. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, if you can like, subscribe, and comment if you have any suggestions. I'm going to add more to this series. I'm going to expand upon this. I'm going to show you how I build my bases with much more advanced technology, but I'll show it incrementally so you guys can see how to get to that point. So I hope I was helpful, and I'll see you next time.